What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Hope Talks. Super excited tonight, especially because we're back in the Hope Talk studio. Let's just call it that. Um, Super excited for tonight and super honored to have a guest tonight. Uh, like I said, there's been a couple problems with getting them here. Uh, the enemy doesn't want us here. Um, but yeah, super hyped up. Hope Talks, episode 5. And if you're new to Hope Talks, what is Hope Talks? We're trying to share hope, um, talking about what I feel hope has as I feel hope has many characteristics in in the word hope. Um, First episode, my boy Carlos, we're speaking on hope and what is hope. Um, Second episode, my boy Saeed with patience. Um, Number 3, episode 3, Victor with progress, and last week was me myself and talking about the struggle. And I've just liked how God has been leading them to tie in with each other, and it's super crazy because they're not planned to tie in, um, but God just has great plans. And tonight, my guest is the one and only, uh, one of the Guerra Bros, Hiesi. This is my boy Hiesi. Welcome, bro.
Thank you, thank you.
Uh, Super excited. Once again, super honored. Uh, just a little background on me and Hiesi. Well, he's known me since I was a kid, basically. Um, but yeah, we grew up together, and it's just so cool having someone like you, like a brother, um, that always been there, and now we're here doing this podcast, and it's just great to have
Yeah,
that, not only a friend out of church, but a brother in Christ. So it's super dope.
yeah, man.
Um, but yeah, how have you been, bro? With this Corona, I know I see you like every other, no, yeah, every other day,
Yeah.
due to church, but still, how have you been? It's been a long while. Um, with Corona going on, with false hurricanes, with with work and everything. How have you
Yeah.
been, bro?
Man, first of all, thank you for having me, bro. This is really cool what you're doing, and
Appreciate it, bro.
man, I'm looking forward to like what this grows into, and I'm pretty sure it'll be something really cool, man.
Appreciate it,
And
bro.
I've been really good lately. Uh, Luckily for me, uh, I didn't really feel the coronavirus too much because I was still working. I
Mm,
was a essential employee, so I was out there, grinding, even though people were like off for like months and stuff.
yeah,
And yeah, I was blessed to be able to work through it. I mean, even though it was scary because you never know like what could happen.
yeah,
But that's why every day, every morning, I pray before going to work. Pray and just um, ask God to protect me and just cover me with His blood. You know, when I go to these different places. So I'm grateful that I was able to just keep working. But other than that, man, I've been really good. Just like I said, just been working. Um, but each day also trying to just get closer to God. Every day it's been a struggle. It's been difficult with this crisis that we're going through and all these things that we see around. There's just so much stuff that we're just like I don't know like exactly what's gonna happen next. It's crazy
yeah.
because there's just so much uncertainty that also makes me just think about God. Like I don't know what the future holds,
Yeah,
so I want to be straight with God. I want to be good with God because all these crazy things. We never know what's gonna happen next.
yeah. I mean, I guess if there's one thing that Corona has done is appreciate every day that
Yeah,
goes, like every single day, focus on the small things. And I guess back then we're just bam, 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 and worried what's next. Now you can't
Yeah.
worry what's next because you
Yeah.
don't know what's next.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
don't know if you can go to the store the next day because of
Mm.
Corona. You don't know if you can go hang out with people because
Yeah.
you don't know they have Corona. Um,
Yeah.
or it's just trying to stay safe, but still trying to live a normal life with, which is really hard during
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I definitely feel you. It's definitely been tough because, back then it was freely to come. Well, I would say it's always been freely to come to church,
Hmm.
but now we have these restrictions that, I mean, you can't, um, you can't say what's up to someone how you used to, just like
Yeah.
hug them and bring them in.
Yeah.
Now it's just uh, fist pumping
Hmm.
and
And
let's
away from
go,
far
yeah,
away.
away from far away and in and out, let's go.
Yeah.
And for me, it's tough because you know back then I mean, I'm a very social guy, so I'm just like,
Mm.
"What's up, man? Like, how you doing?" And
Yeah.
now it's just like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
now and I guess that kind of weighs on people as well because
Mm.
um, you're like, what is like, what's up? Like, I don't feel the same, and I think for all of us, it's been a challenging time. Also, like with attendance starting, it was kind of like, oh gosh, it's not the same.
Yeah.
But little by little, God is bringing His people back,
Mm.
um, giving them that courage that if they really trust in Him, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And good or bad, he's gonna be there with them.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Hope Talks episode 5 on the story, Instagram story. I'm so sorry. I said episode 6. I was tripping. But episode 5, and this episode is, I chose it for a reason. Um, Me and Hissy are super into the Unashamed crew and
Yeah.
Social Club Misfits. And if you don't know what a misfit is, it's someone who doesn't fit in, it's someone who likes being different. So tonight's topic is being different slash unashamed. Um, and as you know, usually when I do this is I choose a key verse that stands out to me, that ties into the topic. And tonight's verse is the one and only Romans 1:16, and it's, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jews and also the Greek." It says also the Greek, um, because, well, first of all, the Christian lifestyle was first literally just offered for the Jews, but the Jews were kind of hard headed, so it was open to everybody.
Yeah.
By Greeks, it means everybody else. Um, but yeah, this I love this verse because I think I tend to try to set myself apart from a lot of things and try to be different,
Hmm.
um, in many aspects of life. And this is a key Bible verse in my life.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what you think about the verse, bro. Like, it takes,
It's a it's a OG verse.
yeah,
It's a pretty well known verse. Um, and it says it right there, man. Like it's just really what the gospel is really all about.
yeah,
Being unashamed of following Christ.
yeah,
And then not only that, as the last part says, like how you said it to the Greeks. This was the gospel was limited to
yeah,
to just the Jewish people. But it got expanded to the rest of the world, and that's why me and you are here. To spread it to the
yeah,
rest of the world. And yeah, this verse really hits home as well for me. Because I feel like my whole life I've been different.
mm,
I've always been the outcast. I've always been the misfit. I've always just been not really following the crowd,
Yeah.
but definitely just wanting to just try something different,
Hmm.
be someone different. And this verse really just, explains a lot about it, you know.
Yeah, and I think as a believer, uh, like this is what it is. Being being unashamed of it, being an unashamed believer, and I mean, by unashamed doesn't mean like you're just gonna be out there and just
Yeah.
condemning people, but being different nowadays can be showing love because
Hmm.
there's not a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
not.
that,
No,
Um, it's
there's
crazy.
just so much in the world right now that it's just it's cruel,
Yeah,
out there, and I've always thought like about how much um, bad is in the world right now, and sometimes I don't understand when people just add to it, like add
yeah,
more bad intentions, bad things, um, and when I think about it, I'm just like, man, like we need more love, we need more peace, we need more understanding, just trying to just really just there's enough hate out there. There's enough
yeah,
violence out there. Like eh, we need more of like peace and love and all that.
yeah, and I think you know, I think now is a key point. If you never felt different, or if you always felt like you try to fit in, this is a key time to feel like, oh, I can step out and share love and then feel different
Yeah.
because, you know, sometimes I guess we get stuck in being comfortable in what you think is different, but is different in your mind is different, but you're surrounding yourself with the same thing, so it becomes comfortable.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always, I guess what I try to do is get comfortable in the uncomfortableness.
Hmm.
So if I start feeling too comfortable, I'm like, nah, I'm not starting to be different. I got to do something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess that we could tie this into the question, like,
Hmm.
what do you feel makes you different? Like,
Hmm.
all in general,
Yeah.
sometimes, our quietness, it makes us different. It could be
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
For me, being different has always been being a follower of Christ.
mm,
And by being a follower of Christ, it's made me see the world a lot differently, and how basically everyone is the same.
yeah.
How in the world, like, we have this mentality that they want to be different, they want to be doing drugs, doing going to parties and going to all these things,
Yeah, but at the end of the
but
day, it's all the same.
yeah, it's all the same. A group of people doing exactly the same thing,
Yeah.
but yet we they want to turn it into that, oh, we're being different,
Yeah.
but I've I've been able to, and I thank God for that. He's made me realize that all of that is just, the same.
Yeah.
God has made me realize you want to be different from that. You don't want to be what they're doing, because I've always, like I said, I've always been different, especially with my family. I've always been the odd one out. Um, so it just God making me realize that all of that is just the same. That I should be different.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, helped me a lot. You know.
Um, dude, what you just said is like key, bro. Like,
Mm,
I guess I never thought about it that way.
yeah.
Just the fact that, you know, that drugs and parties and money,
Yeah.
the money, fame,
Hmm.
and riches, um, you know, I I go through Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I can't wait until the weekend. Go to
Mm,
this party, and and then sometimes I think about us, is that all you wait for?
Yeah.
And um like is that all there is to life in
Mm-hmm.
your head? And I'm like, I'm so thankful God transformed the way I say we think, um, because I would get bored, you know.
Yeah.
Um, the greatest thing of being a believer is it never gets old.
Yeah.
There's nothing the same. You
Yeah.
know, not every service is gonna be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you start feeling it's the same, it's because you're not doing
Yeah.
enough.
You're not moving.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not moving. You're not trying to be
Mm-hmm.
involved. You
Yeah.
know, God does as much as He's allowed to,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess in my aspect of being different is, you know, I see the norm, quote unquote
Mm-hmm.
norm, and see how God will move in that.
Yeah.
And if God isn't moving in that, go away from it.
Yeah.
You know, um, but like, we're human at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and this will bring us into our next. Um,
Wait, hold on. I want to say something.
yeah.
Um, like we just focus so much on trying to be different. You know, like yeah, coming to church. Like oh, you just go to church.
Yeah.
Oh, like how you said. Um, and we just it might people might see it in a way where how we're looking at them.
Hmm.
But that's when the understanding. The
Yeah.
how God can really just come into your life and just change everything around.
Hmm.
And like you not to like bash on people, like you do your thing, go
Yeah.
ahead,
Yeah.
and I'll be praying for you, um but there's just stuff that we can do differently,
Hmm.
with what we're doing. And yeah, just um, I would notice it a lot, when I would listen to a lot of secular music,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially rap. And back in high school, like or just before after that, I got heavily like just always listening to it. And as I started getting closer to God, it just started, you know, not making sense to me.
Hmm.
And then it got to a point where God made me realize, like, dude, you just listen what you're, like, really listen what they're talking about. And they just talk about the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, all of them, just the same exact thing in different type of phrases, different types of words. Now, I'm a big music fan, and you know
Yeah.
that. And me realizing that, I was just like, God, like what was I thinking? I was like, man, like 20 different new rappers talking about the exact same thing, and I'm just like, bro, I got tired of it, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I thank God for that. I thank God that I got tired of it, because now I listen to, I try to explore, different music, Christian, gospel, and I thank God, because and like I said, I'm a big music fan, so he got me to just explore, more than what I felt like I was just so
Yeah.
enclosed to. So I have like just a grip on me, and I was just, oh man, from that moment I was like, man, thank God that I don't listen to that no more.
Yeah. I mean, you know, um, I I can also tie into that because, I mean, you know, back then, um, you would listen to something, and we could say Christian hip hop wasn't as known,
Yeah,
um, and you know, sometimes you do verge off into new things, and secular music was something I did verge off to, and and listening to it, I'm just like, man, it sounds cool, but I really wasn't listening to it. I was just
yeah,
like, man, this sounds cool,
yeah,
but I wasn't listening.
right, yeah,
So like you said, until you start to listen, you listen to a little bit of the same thing
Mm-hmm.
all the time. And just like you said, not bashing on other people, because that's never what we're trying to do
Mm-hmm.
here, you know. But it's also trying to let y'all know that there is so much more
Yeah.
than to what we listen to. There is so much more to how we live our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, it's just, you know, when you start listening to a lot of secular music, you get stuck in that kind of, like, you know, I mean, it starts to affect you
Yeah.
as well, because like
It does.
that ego, that
Uh-huh.
that little, you know, swagger,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it affects you.
Yeah.
And like once I started changing into straight up worship music,
Mm-hmm.
Christian rap, you know, and just exploring the Christian music industry, it changes you, it uplifts you.
Yeah. Like,
Even in a sad song,
yeah.
like you know, in a sad song, you listen to it, and they're just talking about how something so negative God made positive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Gavi's, one of Gavi's song, I think it was with Heathen,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about when his parents split up,
Yeah.
that's when his faith took off.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's so true. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we're in such a negative spot where God is just like, nope, this is something I'm gonna use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this next question.
Yeah.
Did you or have you ever tried to fit in, and how did that affect you?
I did.
Because, my bad.
Yeah.
Because, you know, how I was talking, at the end of the day, we are humans. And, you know, we start, okay, they're doing it. Maybe I should jump into it, you know. Or it's so much of, man, this person is close to me and they're doing it. Like, let me try to, like, you know, I still want to be cool with the person.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, bro, like, how did it affect you? Or have you ever tried to fit in?
Really, the best example of my life that I can give would be back when I was in high school. I was just trying to find myself and really just trying to fit in somewhere.
Yeah.
And that group that I guess I chose to fit in was like the people that skateboard
Yeah.
and did all that, you know. And like I was able to fit in with them, but you know that moment made me realize how like I was trying to just be someone that I couldn't be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just by joining a group of people that I had no experience with, you know, and just jumping in there
Yeah.
and trying to fit in, trying so hard to fit in, and I just, you know, I just saw how they were, and I just wanted to be them, and I bought a skateboard. I did, you know, I spent money and all that just to fit in, you know. And it's
Yeah.
crazy the stuff that we do, you
Yeah.
know, and I heard this actually today, just to keep an image, you know, just for the world to see the image that we just want to keep up with, even though it's not even us. You know?
Yeah. And I think, well, I want to say something before I go into that. You know, there's a big difference with trying to fit in and belonging.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we can try so hard to fit in somewhere we don't belong, and it's never gonna work. It's never gonna work. And that's what's so cool with believing in God. Because as we see, it was just for the Jews at first. And I'm pretty sure there's people like, man, let me try to fit in.
Mhm.
And then Jesus was like, nah, this is for so much more.
Yeah.
This is for the Greeks. This is for the Romans. This is for everybody,
Everybody.
the Gentiles, you know.
Mhm.
And, you know, the Jews were kind of hard-headed and were like,
Yeah.
they didn't want to accept Jesus at first.
Yeah.
So through that, it's meant for everybody. So now all of us can be accepted and belong.
Mhm.
And that's another thing, acceptance. I think we fight for acceptance a lot. And sometimes it's fighting acceptance for the people closest to us.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes our family is different. Like, I'm not like my brothers. My brothers aren't like me. I'm not like my sister. I'm not like my mom. And, you know,
Yeah.
and sometimes we try to fit in with our own people.
Yeah.
And then one thing I realized throughout my walk with Christ, I didn't start to fit in until I stopped caring about it.
Yeah.
Until I stopped trying to hold this image of this chubby kid trying to, you know, fit into things I wasn't able to fit in,
Yeah,
you know? And it wasn't until I really let God take control of my life and set me apart, you know. But it was tough because it was the people closest around me that I tried to fit into. It
Yeah.
was the people who I cared about their opinion, try to fit into. And then once I become a believer, I can kind of care less what anybody thinks about me.
Yeah.
As long as I'm good with God, that's good with me.
Yeah,
And that's when I started realizing about love,
Mhm.
about compassion, about
Yeah.
understanding. And it made me realize a lot. And
And that's the thing. We focus so much, like our energy,
mhm.
to trying to just keep that image, try to fit in,
Yeah,
and just imagine what you could do if you take that energy and just put it on God. You know,
yeah,
put that energy into seeking God and praying and doing things for Christ.
yeah. And I feel, not to bash on social media, but social media has specific images on what stuff should be, you know, how your life should be. It should be lavish. It should be with girls, with guys, you know, in a relationship that everything should be out there. You know, in friendship that y'all should be doing everything together, you know.
Yeah.
When that really starts putting, you know, stress on people because they're like, my life doesn't look like that Instagram type of life, you know, and or sometimes, Andy Mineo was speaking on, have we like completely forgot about our actual life because we're so stuck on social media now because we
Yeah.
can't really go out anymore,
Yeah.
to the point our social media is a fake version of us, you know. And I think that's key as a believer. And just like a quick shout out, being different kind of has some guidelines to it, just on what to do, you know, and sometimes I think that affects me in a way that I'm just like, what if I mess up? Like, at the end of the day, like, yes, I am a believer, but I am human, and I'm bound to mess up
Yeah.
at a point. But, you know, how we're talking about images, you know, some people, they're like, oh, he's a believer. And they see your life and they see your Instagram and you're all positive and, you know, and it seems like nothing's wrong with you and your life is good. You don't do nothing wrong. And, you know, even that image sometimes is hard to carry, you know. And, like for anybody who's watching, like, you know, it's sometimes we think too much about what other people uh, try to think of. I guess especially in church, because some people look up to you without even knowing, you know.
Yeah.
And it can be an added pressure to your life, and not wanting to mess up brings pressure as well.
Yeah.
Um, and this can be bringing down to the next question: what has been the hardest part of being different and being unashamed?
Um, well, growing up, I was really antisocial. You know, I was always quiet, you know, and I was very observative
Yeah.
to the things around me. Um, and me trying to fit in somewhere made me realize like I can be great, you know, by myself. You know, I can have my own style. You know, I can have the way that I talk. You know, just
Yeah.
myself. You know, be myself. I can be a great person being myself. And I guess just the hardest part in being different and unashamed would be, you know, um, the world. You know, um, at the end of the day, you and I were both flesh. You know,
Mm.
there's so much temptation out there.
Yeah.
You know, um, and it's not easy. You know, it's not easy being, you know, unashamed of Christ. Um, even though, like I said, it's not easy following Christ,
Mm-hmm.
but I can guarantee you that following the world is a lot easier. You know,
Yep.
you can just get lost in there and not be able to come back. Um, but following Christ is a challenge, you know, and it's different. Um, it's just something that people don't do nowadays, you know,
Mm-hmm.
following Christ.
Yeah, and you know, back then, you would pray in school.
Hmm.
You would um, also have Bible in school, and it would be, required somewhat, and it was a lot different back then till now, where there's a bad connotation to or title to Christian.
Hmm.
There's I guess you could say they think about Christian and they think about judgment, and I feel like I think that's what's so hard about being um, unashamed about Christ in the world,
Hmm.
because there's titles to being Christian.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, I feel like, you know, for the most part, that happens because some people get caught up in the religion
Hmm.
part, and those people start condemning people, and that's when people start, oh, they're judgy people, they're hypocrites because
Yeah.
their life used to be worse than this and that,
Hmm.
and it's hard because you try to be unashamed, and some people just the rejection. Nah, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you're just gonna criticize me, which at the end of the day, our job is to share it, the gospel, which is the good news, is not judgment, because at the end of the day, we're not God, and we're not supposed to share
Yeah.
share judgment
Yeah.
or give judgment. Yeah, because as soon as we start to judge, is as soon as we start to sin.
Yeah.
Judgment is a sin.
Hmm.
So it's just like, um, just how they have titles with us is just crazy, because, like, I'm like, hey, bro, like, have you heard about Christ? Or, you know, in a post, try to be different
Hmm.
and share a positive message. And you know, some people are like, dude, like, we know your past, we know what you've done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I know my past too.
Mhm.
Like, I know what I've done.
Yeah.
And, but like, I know where I came from and how far I've came.
Mhm.
And, you know, like how we're talking about, the hardest part is the image, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it is, um, how we were talking about how, you know, as believers, they tend to see you as invincible, perfect, you know, positive all the time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we are flesh.
Mhm.
We do get down. We do get positive. And just how you were speaking, temptation is the hardest part of being a believer.
Yeah.
Because in the world, once you're living a worldly life, there really is no temptation. There's just peer pressure.
Yeah.
So, but once you're a believer, it's certain things attract you, and everybody's different in that aspect. Some people it could be drugs, and they're like, "Oh, that's my weakness." Some people it could be alcohol, and
Mhm.
oh, that's my weakness. Some
Yeah.
people it could be girls and everything, you know.
Mhm.
And you know, that is for me as well. The temptation part of it is probably one of the hardest parts
Yeah.
of being ashamed, being a believer.
Yeah.
Not only because I don't want to give into it, but because I don't want to fail.
Mhm.
Um, Fail people
Yeah.
that who are around me, because I know if I fail or they see me fail, you know, there is kind of that, man, what are they gonna think about me?
Yeah. No.
But I mean, at the end of the day, what's so beautiful of all of this is God sent his son to die for our sins.
Yeah.
No matter how bad it was,
Mhm.
no matter if, you know, you were gone one day and back to Christ the next day.
Yeah.
You know, that's his grace and mercy is the best part of this.
Yeah.
And
At work, like I just like how you said, we don't judge. We're not. Me and you are not here to do that.
mhm.
And like at work, I don't like. Yeah, like they you're your own testimony, man.
Yeah.
Like they see me at work and um they have a nickname for me. They always call me brother Hesse, and I like it. um, but that's just because of my testimony
Mhm.
of what they're seeing, and my testimony of what I do and what I believe in. And I'm not there, like judging them. I'm not there shoving, Christ in their face, like, you need
Yeah.
to believe, like, you need to repent now. You're sinning. Like, no, like, there's a few of them that I've like, just had conversations
Mhm.
and I just that's like not an opening, but like, I give them my testimony and they could see how I don't mix it with religion, because
Yeah.
I feel like in a lot of people's eyes, they just see religion there
Mhm.
and they think, oh, well, then this guy, he can't do this, he can't do that, like, and like I'm just a pretty relaxed guy, I never really just go up to them and say, hey, you're sinning, don't
Yeah.
stop doing that. Um, and like you said, it's just at the end of the day, it's so good that knowing that there's the God that sacrificed his one and only son
Yeah.
to save our lives.
Yeah.
And that's powerful too.
And I think that allows us to be different, you know.
Mhm.
It's that I forgot in one of my posts I put if I'm not mistaken I put we we weren't meant to be different, but we were chosen to be different, and through God, we're allowed to be different.
Yeah.
And it's it's kind of like God. We weren't in this world to be different. We grew up. We're born as sinners, but because of Jesus' sacrifice, amazing sacrifice, we have the choice now. That free will he gives us to choose to be different and allow us to be different now, then if that would have never happened, man, this world would be crazy.
Yeah.
And like it's just so awesome and I just think about it and I get the chills just like he loved me so much that he allowed me to be different.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I never chose this lifestyle, I probably wouldn't be here. I probably would be caught up in some horrendous things.
Yeah. Same here.
But because of him, I'm here sharing the gospel the best way I can.
Yeah.
Just trying to be different and live my testimony the best way I can. But just like how you're saying, this walk it isn't easy, but at the end of the day, it's 100% worth it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with our last two questions, which are conclusion questions that I ask you, but this is also for everybody in general who's watching. Just meditate on these things. Also, all the other questions, like, ask yourself, like, how am I different? Where am I trying to fit in where I don't belong? And what's the hardest part? And try to work on those places and those spots in your life that are hard and aren't allowing you to fully be unashamed, be different, So last two questions, and these tie into the title, Hope Talks, and our logo has anchor, and it says "Refuse to Sink."
Yeah.
And by refuse to sink, it's just like, was there a point in your life like you were just down, but God pulled you up? Jesus pulled you up, and we're like, nah, you ain't done yet. Just like I forgot what I was gonna say, but question is, when did you refuse to sink in your life?
I think there was a lot of, I feel like there was a lot of times that I refused. But just in general, whenever I saw myself just sinking deeper into sin and deeper into temptation and just ignoring God, just doing my own thing, putting God last, not worrying about what the future holds, not putting it in God's hands, just kind of living life like if I own it, and that's when like I was like, yo, like this isn't right, that's I'm not the holder of my life, God is, he's the one that decides what's gonna happen next, not me. And that's when I was able to just look around and see the world for what it really is, like how ugly and messed up the world is.
Yeah.
And in that moment, that God lifted me up, and it's been tough, but giving up is not an option.
Yeah. And I feel like for some people, they feel like they're giving up. They're giving up, and they're just like, they feel like they've hit rock bottom. but Jesus is just waiting,
Yeah.
waiting for you. Like I was speaking a couple Tuesdays back on how just the prodigal son, the father was waiting for him, no matter how deep and no matter like he hit rock bottom.
Hmm.
But sometimes we have to hit rock bottom to realize we're nothing without Christ. We
Yeah.
sometimes we have to like completely sink so that Jesus can bring us back up and be
Yeah.
like, I am, just like Esau last night, man, powerful word and talk about how Jesus is our only satisfaction. Like the woman in the well,
Hmm.
um, she'll go for water, but you know, um, Jesus wasn't talking about physical water. He was talking about him, that he was the only satisfaction.
Yeah.
And I think if you're in that place that you feel like you're sinking or that you have sunk, that Jesus is your satisfaction. Jesus is what's gonna pull you right back up, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and put you back on your feet, clothe you with the best clothes, give you a feast like the Father did to His Son.
Yeah. Like God is never gonna make you go through something that He knows you can't. You
Hmm.
know, you can't go through it. You know, sometimes we think like, man, God, where are you? Like,
Yeah,
why did you put me up to this when I know I can't do it? But that's the thing, you know. We say I know I can't, but God knows that you can,
yeah,
and that's when God works the best.
yeah. And the thing is crazy is like sometimes God knows you can't,
Mhm.
but He knows He can.
Yeah,
So He's like, let's see how long it takes them to realize they can't.
yeah,
Because sometimes we try to take our own weight.
mhm,
Man, if I were to do that or have done that, bro, I would have sunk a long time ago.
yeah,
Because weight isn't only problems. Weight is that image. Weight
mhm.
is family.
Social
It's
media,
everything. Social
everything.
media,
Yeah,
temptation, sin.
uh-huh.
Man, that's a lot to carry.
Yeah,
And some people try to do it on their own. And Jesus isn't gonna be like, hey, like
no,
wake up. He's a how it says a gentleman.
yeah,
He's just waiting for you to be
yeah,
like, God, help me.
yeah,
And then he's there, boom, picks you up and let's go.
yeah.
You know. But yeah, uh, Nick, last question. What is your hope for the future? All in general, maybe the future for the world, future for your life, spiritually, personally, work,
Mhm.
anything, goals.
Um, really, and I feel like it's just in general again.
Hmm.
Um, to getting closer to God. I feel like there shouldn't be
Yeah, I don't think it's on, bro. It probably died. Here you go.
so they just every day to seek God. And I feel like there shouldn't be a limit of seeking God. You should always want more and more and more each day, and just to that we put that in our future. And once we keep seeking God, God will lay out the next step that He has for you, the next plan that He has for you, and just in general too, just the people that are around me. Just I just pray that we the people around me just grow in God a lot more, and just get closer to God. That's my what I hope for the future. For that to happen. You know.
Yeah, bro, for sure. I guess no, I know growing with Christ is a big hope for my future as well. Um, like lately, there's been some things going on, and sometimes you do question because that's your flesh side. Like, Man, where are you? And now, speaking of so many things that we've spoken about, sometimes a lot of people, you know, wouldn't understand how God speaks. And for everybody, it's so different how God speaks to them. And sometimes it's through our own words. Well, it's not our own words. It's like right now, it's just what Jesus has planned for. You know, when you're a believer, everything is planned for you. And like tonight, it was just kind of I really needed this. Um, but definitely is getting closer to Christ, the hope for the future, but also trying to by future I mean it could be a short term or a long term, but a long term for me is kind of affecting people, people's lives in a positive way, and gaining people for Christ. That's my hope for the future, and I want to be as close to God through that, and that's what I I really hope for the future. And then me personally, I just want to be a better David. You know, Andy Mineo says there's no time to being good when you want to be great, and I don't know. It's kind of like that mama mentality. You could say it's just wanting to be better, and just wanting to grow in Christ, wanting to grow as a person. And that's a huge hope for the future of mine, and just as well for anybody. I hope that we all can grow in Christ, and I hope that we all can be better people, and I hope we can change the norms of society, 'cause that's huge. And well, yeah, bro, super grateful. Hope Talks, episode 5, my boy Hiesi. Um, like I said from the start, super honored to have you, bro, and super blessed. Also, thank you guys for viewing, and staying tuned. I know it hasn't been easy because we've been on and off, um, just due to different circumstances. But man, every time I get to do this, I feel blessed. I feel honored. I feel privileged by God, and just having the honor to having each guest here is super cool. Just letting them know that they're appreciated from episode 1 to episode 5. Um, super appreciate it, and I don't know if you've got anything to say before we.
Yeah, just this is really dope. Like I said, this is something that hopefully just grows into something bigger, and I'm really thankful for you, for your life, and for having me here. It's been an honor to, like you said, we've been knowing each other. I feel like you hear this a lot, since I feel like you hear this a lot. Well, I've been knowing you since you were a baby. I feel like you hear that so much, but it's true. We've seen you, grow, and I never thought that we would be doing this. So it's crazy. It's super cool, man, and I'll keep praying that God keeps using you and just grows this into something. You be on Spotify, and just be on Apple Music, just be on the radio, and you know thinking bigger things. That's always should be the goal. For stuff that you like to do, and yeah, man, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
All right, guys, we'll be letting y'all know what episode 6 gonna come out. Tune in, and as always, we love you guys, and see you guys later.